You dare!" The Crown Prince cut the Emperor off before he could finish. "As His Majesty the Emperor is gravely ill, he will henceforth be confined to the villa's private chambers and provided with full care." The imperial physician bowed immediately. "Yes, Your Highness. As you command." The Emperor's head snapped sideways as if he'd been struck. This creature was no longer his son. He was an apostate. A traitor. "Are you insane? What are you saying? This is treason, treason." The Emperor's eyes went wild, fixed on the Crown Prince with something beyond rage. The Duke of the West took the Emperor's arm in a firm grip and forced him to his feet. Let go of me. Let go, asterisk. As the Duke of the West pulled him toward the door, the Emperor's devastated eyes found the Crown Prince, now seated in the Emperor's own chair, watching him go with a face like cold stone. "That is my seat. The Emperor's seat. No one may take it, no one. Let go of me." Red veins burst across the whites of his eyes. He fought with everything he had, but he could not overpower the Duke of the West, and the door was growing closer. The Crown Prince watched from the chair, received him one final time. "Goodbye. Release me this instant. Duke of the West, have you gone mad? Is there no one here?" The Emperor was dragged, still struggling, still shouting, his voice cracking into something wretched and small, until the sound of it faded down the corridor. The butler, who had been weeping silently throughout, moved to follow. The Crown Prince's voice stopped him. "Chief Chamberlain." The butler stilled. "Yes, Your Highness. Your position is also suspended pending investigation. Please wait in your room." "Yes." A long pause. "I accept." He had believed, to the very end, that this was all theater, some gambit of the Emperor's that would resolve itself. He had been wrong. That misjudgment was his to carry. The butler bowed deeply, not bothering to wipe the tears still falling, and withdrew. \\\\\. Under the cover of a moonless night, a column of nobles and soldiers moved through the capital toward the imperial palace. At the front walked Edina, Duchess of the East, and Smith, Duke of the South. The guards at the palace gates snapped to attention at the sight of the approaching force, every muscle braced. Edina stopped before the lead guard and spoke quietly. "Open the gates. What business brings you to the imperial palace at this hour?" "I have come to see His Majesty the Emperor. Return when the sun has risen." Edina glanced briefly at the soldiers ranked behind her, then brought her gaze back to the guard. "We can open them ourselves if we must." The guard looked as though he might collapse. The man beside him had stopped breathing entirely. The guards exchanged rapid, desperate glances. At that moment, James, as commander of the Imperial Palace Guard, appeared from within the gates and walked forward at an unhurried pace. The guards exhaled visibly with relief. James stepped past them and regarded the assembled nobles and soldiers with eyes that revealed nothing. His sharp gaze settled on the two at the front. "Two people. No more. Will you be escorting us yourself, Commander?" "No. I will take you to His Highness the Crown Prince." Edina and Smith looked at each other. They had sent the Crown Prince letter after letter, and he had not moved, not once. They had come tonight prepared to force the Emperor's removal and place the Crown Prince on the throne themselves. But the Crown Prince was inviting them in? "Lead the way," Smith said quietly. Edina gave a slight nod of agreement. Behind them, the nobles immediately objected. "What if something goes wrong with only two of you inside?" "Take some of the soldiers." James's expression hardened into something that silenced the rest of the sentence before it could be spoken. "We stand before the gates of the Imperial Palace. Those who surrounded it tonight are troublemakers, by any definition." His voice was level and utterly cold. "No one enters the Imperial Palace without the Crown Prince's permission." The nobles' hands trembled. Their throats had gone dry. Being looked at by this man, even just being looked at, was enough. A strange light moved through Edina's eyes. Understood. Please guide us. James held the gaze of the noble who had spoken a moment longer than necessary, then turned and walked. Edina and Smith followed. Their steps slowed as they went. The direction James was leading them was not toward the Crown Prince's residential palace. It was toward the Emperor's office. When they stopped walking, James turned around. His Highness the Crown Prince is waiting in His Majesty's office. The Duke of the West is present as well, you need not worry. A pause. On my honor, he stopped himself. No. I pledge you my life. He said it quietly, with something sad underneath it, and turned to walk again. Edina and Smith exchanged a glance at his back. When they finally reached the office, James opened the door. The Crown Prince sat in the Emperor's seat. The Duke of the West stood at his side, still and watchful, as though he had been stationed there. Duchess of the East greets the Crown Prince. Duke of the South greets the Crown Prince. Both of them bowed. The Crown Prince received their greetings with a composed expression. You've had a long journey at this late hour. The words held a mild edge, a quiet observation about the army currently surrounding the imperial palace in the dark. We apologize, Edina said. But nothing has come of it, as things stand. Is that not so, Your Highness? She raised her head and met his eyes directly, her own bright with understanding. Not yet, the Crown Prince agreed, his voice even. A brief silence. Smith looked at Gerard and spoke carefully. Where is His Majesty the Emperor? Did you not come upon hearing that His Majesty is gravely ill, and that I will be serving as his regent from this point forward? Edina's eyes widened. They had spent months trying to bring the Crown Prince around, and nothing had worked. And now, suddenly, this? Her startled gaze moved to the Duke of the West, standing in silence beside the Crown Prince. A memory surfaced, a conversation in the Duke's office, not so long ago. The Duke of the West had not answered that question. Edina looked between the two of them. The nobles had needed the Crown Prince to remove the Emperor, he had been indispensable to their plans. But if the nobles had forced him onto the throne, his reign would have been built on their foundation, and he would have spent it in their debt. The shape of imperial power depended entirely on how it was obtained. Instead, even if only as regent for now, the Crown Prince had assumed his position by his own choice. On his own terms. I am not certain how the news spread so quickly, the Crown Prince said, his tone mild. Everyone seems to have very strong feelings about the Empire's future. However, as it is late and you must be tired, we will hold formal discussions tomorrow. The implication was clear, the army outside is unnecessary. The situation is already resolved. Everyone may go home. Edina's gaze moved to the window. The soldiers her faction had brought still encircled the palace grounds. But there was nothing left for them to do. Of course. We will take our leave. Edina allowed a faint, composed smile and lowered her head. Until tomorrow. Smith echoed the farewell with a slight bow. As she straightened, Edina's eyes found the Duke of the West for one brief moment. He met her gaze without expression. She gave him a small, rueful smile of acknowledgement, then turned away. Smith bowed to Gerard as well and followed her out. They walked through the imperial palace corridors in silence. Far ahead, she could make out the gathered nobles, their tension and restless anticipation tangible even at this distance. Smith looked toward them and murmured, low enough for only her to hear. Bringing them around is going to be painful work. The nobles had come tonight expecting to be the architects of a new reign, expecting to be owed something for their role in it. That expectation would need to be carefully dismantled. It will, Edina agreed. It's going to be a very long night. She looked up at the black sky overhead, and something in her expression, almost imperceptibly, eased.